No. Yo, what up, everybody? It is your boy. I am back finally with another Brutally Honest. So for this one, I just got a bunch of questions off of Twitter, and you guys killed it with the questions. There was a ton of you. I appreciate it so much. I can't get to all of them because that would be ridiculous. I just grabbed like 10 or so. I might do a second part eventually. We'll see. But for now, I just wanted to say thank you guys, and I'll jump right into it. All right, first question we got Simply Matt asking if TSM and Falcons were teaming like 17 and Tianba got caught doing, would we be permanently banned or something similar to that? To answer your question, surprisingly, I think we would not be banned. I don't think we would get punished nearly as harshly as people are suggesting we might have, or Western teams in general might have. I think when it comes to drop spots and kind of the whole fuckery about drop spots, you can't do much. People talk about drop spots all the time. They don't go to as drastic measures as 17 and Tiamba, but all the time in between games, you'll hear teams or see teams in general. Hey, are you dropping here? Are you guys ulting? Like, what this is a weird plane path. Are you guys gonna go to Zarky? Like, you can consider that teaming depending on like the amount you want to go into it. Obviously, it's different with 17 and Tiamba because theirs is tactical in terms of trying to get a team specifically to qual, but at the same time, there's a fine line for teaming specifically, and it's for me, it's not enough to ban a team over. I don't think you should. They should be harshly punished. I think people on my team disagree. I think a lot of people publicly disagree. But when it comes to the actual drop spots, it doesn't directly give them points. Like it helps them avoid a hot drop, and it's definitely unethical. But in terms of actual rules, I don't think it's enough to punish a team, and I don't think we would have been banned or anything like that. I think we would have got punished harsher for sure. But in my opinion, I don't even think they should have been punished. I think it's just bullshit teaming, and it just shows that they're both of those teams are being giant fucking pussies, and obviously everybody loses respect for them and what they did. But I don't think they should be punished in terms of an actual tournament standpoint. So, all right, next question we got. Greg Shot asking, do you think your age hurts or helps you more in your role? He jokes about younger Purdy winning PGC there. Um, let's start with the hurt. Do I think getting older hurts my role? Not me specifically. I think the only thing that getting older can possibly hurt is maybe your mechanics a little bit. And to be honest, with PUBG, I don't think mechanics, like a slight decrease in mechanics, is ever really going to show too much, unless you like abruptly stop playing the game, right? Like as long as you're consistently grinding at it, you're really not going to diminish much skill at all. And then to top that off, I've never been a mechanical guy anyways, right? Like no matter how many hours I put in, I'm not going to be fucking Tiggleton on the peaks or fucking Egg Slept going hard or High Mass or any of those guys. So for me personally, I don't think it diminishes much. And in terms of being helpful, I think it helps in terms of leading a team. Obviously, all the experience I've had throughout all the years is invaluable. My ability to stay calm, I think I've kind of always had to a certain extent. But I think the biggest one for me is I think with the experience and the age is my nerves for events is honestly vanished. I don't know what it was or what the trigger point was, but I just have stopped getting nervous at lands. I think I get nervous more online because you never know if there's like Balkans out there, whoever it might be. But yeah, I think the my age factor has definitely helped me in the staying calm, having good leadership, kind of avoiding the nerves, and just kind of being able to lead a team through some difficult times. So hope that answers the question. All right, next question we got Old Man Win asking a two-part question: who should the GPT teams be for next year, and do you think they will actually make any changes? So as I record this video, two main question marks are involved, right? So Hemas just left Cerberus, which is crazy. So if they don't have Hemas, I don't think Cerberus should be a global partner team at all. Because when Tycon left, the team already went downhill. So I think that team is going to be... I don't even know what that team is anymore, if it even competes. So I think Cerberus should be out, right? Maybe they get replaced by AGG, which would be weird. But, I mean, they're going to be a powerhouse again. Tycon, Hemas, insane duo. Then the other one is the whole Sonic question mark right now going on. Not them as players or as a team, but the organization as a whole. We saw publicly Darren Tribizzle step down. Never a good sign for the organization. They dropped the Rainbow Six team. So who knows what goes on with them. If the org disappears out of PUBG or whatever happens, then that would obviously be a big blow to GPT. But I don't think much changes. I don't know who you would get rid of out of GPTs. I don't know if they add any. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know shit about GPT right now. From what I've heard, the GPT program in general is pretty much, other than getting invited to the lands, it's a joke. The skins, like the limits they put on it, and all the different kind of caveats and the sales of the actual skins isn't great. So who really gives a fuck other than the land invites? But outside of Soniqs' whole question mark, I think if they aren't on Soniqs anymore, obviously they get picked up. Tickleton can go to whatever org in the world he wants. He's Tickleton. So Tickleton and friends could go to who fucking knows what. Fucking, I've heard on Reddit they're picking up K-Mind. So it doesn't matter. They'll keep GPT, and I'm not stressing about it. I would love to be a GPT. Obviously, we had a great year. We've had some great fans in our corner, but I'm not gonna hold my breath, and I'm not gonna assume anything changes. So the main thing is Cerberus changing. I think they should be gone and replaced by most likely another Southeast Asian organization because the market there is huge. And then whatever happens with Tickleton and friends, it is what it is. So, all right. For next question, we got Survivor PUBG asking, how would you feel if PUBG Esports went fully 100% TPP? This question's a little frustrating to even answer because I played TPP for the Twitch Rivals tournament not too long ago, and it was so frustrating. So to keep it short, I think TPP is awful for competitive. I know that if you're a TPP player, that hurts to hear. TPP is like the grassroots of PUBG. It was PUBG when it first came out. But I think when they introduced FPP, it really bridged a gap in between the whole esports base in general. It really started to show a different skill gap for a lot of players based on how you took risk and how you gathered information and things you had to do that wasn't just sitting behind a wall waiting for somebody to walk into you, or sitting behind a wall and seeing the entire field in front of you, the entire room in front of you. Like, the amount of skills that it took to do that then compared to now is insane. You can tell a great player based on how they gather information, and in TPP, you just sit on a wall. It's awful. The last thing I want to do is walk into a building or walk next to a wall and a guy just sitting there with a pump. Or I'm driving into a combine that looks clear and there's a guy sitting there watching me the whole time with a Panzer that I could never see, right? Things like that are going to be incredibly frustrating. So in general, I think TPP doesn't help anything. It doesn't help from a viewer standpoint. I don't think it helps bridge the gap for PUBG esports to the casual base of PUBG, because if you play TPP or you play FPP, you can still watch PUBG esports. It doesn't change how you view the game as an esport. But to play TPP, like, just ruins the esport for the competitive integrity of it. And I'm going to be honest, the viewing perspective of it is going to be way worse to watch as well. You're going to see a lot more passive gameplay, a lot of just sitting on your hands and doing nothing. And I definitely dread the day that TPP comes to PUBG esports, or comes back. So for the next question, we got King Jake asking, how do you feel about Team Falcons initiating the fight, knowing it was y'all next to them in match 5 on the final day? They knew y'all were in a position to win it all. They were not. They could have avoided y'all, but came straight at you. I can see if they had a chance to top 5, but they didn't. Listen, I don't take it personally one bit. Every single person and every single team in that lobby is in that lobby to compete. Now, whether that be you've had a rough tournament, you've had, rough 16 games up until that point, it is what it is. You're competing for every single spot. It doesn't matter if you're in 16th and you're competing for fucking 14th. It doesn't matter if you're in 5th and you're competing for 1st. Everybody's just out there to compete. If I'm in their spot, I'm doing the same thing, but I'm doing it twice as fast. They're getting wiped. It is what it is. I don't hold anything against them. They're just trying to get theirs, and they got theirs. Obviously, we look back at it, hindsight 2020. Could have done this, could have done that, could have pushed this, could have went into apps, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't matter. They was just getting theirs, and all is fair. And we got Cypher asking, you and the boys had probably one of the best comebacks from 2023 to 2024. The mentality to keep going to improve is not easy. Even if you give it 100%, you still need something extra. What do you guys talk about to keep it alive? even after some 0 point games, what do you think helps? Um, I think a lot of things help in this aspect. One of the things, like you said, is 2023 was rough for all of us, top to bottom. Where a lot of us were on different teams. Luke, Sparking, me, and Alo. Like we all had our individual teams outside of me and Alo, and none of them performed well at all last year. Luke's team in APAC did okay, but they never actually, sealed the deal. Sparking had gotten into some weird shit with Legacy, from IGLing that roster to being off the roster. So when you have a year like that, everybody's real hungry. Everybody's real hungry for success. And I think when you have a bunch of people like that getting together, anything is really possible when you're all actually working towards the goal of success. The ability to stay open-minded, and then the ability to have a direct goal of what you want to do, writing that down. We're going to qual for every single event. Nobody made lands the year before other than like one or two events, right? So the goals are, we're making every fucking land that we can this year. We're getting top 8 in these lands this year. Like literally having those goals for every event we went to, I think was massive for us, even if it wasn't, constantly hammered into us. Just subconsciously having that in our brains, I think went a long way. And then like the 0 point situation, I think everybody on the team has been in spots to where we bounce back. Like we know we can be bounced back. It's always possible. And then that mixed with like a dry humor of our team, it makes it easy to kind of reset mentally. Like we got a bunch of different like insider personal memes. We're only one win away from this, or we can hit this placement, or quick game's a good game. Like whatever memes are, just some nice dry humor. Keep it light. Keep the boys focused, and just it's not that big of a deal. We're playing video games. Let's get the next one. You know what I mean? I think all that shit just really helps. All that combined really takes us as far as we can go. Next question. We got Tiff, who fucking hit me with 4 questions. Right, so because Tiff is awesome, we're going to try and nail these out pretty quick, right? We're just going to go really quick. So we got, what would you be doing if you didn't get into competitive gaming? I have no fucking clue. I used to work with my dad and do fire and flood restoration, and as fun as it is to work with family, like I love my dad, but that job itself was not fun for me. Working in warehouse, cleaning fucking random shit in the Florida summers, not fun, not ideal. All right, so I have no idea what the fuck I'd be doing. What are the best and worst things about being a PUBG player? The best things are I get to play video games for a living. I get to literally sit in my room, eat dog shit food if I want to be a loser and order food, and just game. Like I game. Like no matter how you look at it, I get to compete on video games, and I can make a living off of it if I play well enough. So that is awesome, and I appreciate that. The worst part about being a PUBG player, PUBG doesn't listen to shit. PUBG is awful to actually interact with as a player. The feedback is like just throwing fucking shit in a river. It's useless. It's just dog shit. I honestly don't know what to do in terms of like actual player feedback, and that is incredibly frustrating. I think that's honestly it. I think PUBG's looked down upon in the esports scene, so that kind of sucks. Like, you don't really get much respect as an esports player for playing PUBG. And then, yeah, PUBG just doesn't listen to shit, so it's kind of pointless. Question 3, what was the first thing you bought with your first PUBG paycheck? I honestly don't remember, but it was probably food. I'm kind of like a fat foodie, so it could have been like Chick-fil-A or something. I have no idea, but it was definitely food related. Question 4, if you could choose to have a land somewhere, where would it be? Honestly, the U.S. would be awesome, but it'll never happen. So somewhere realistic would be just Europe again, anywhere in Europe, so I don't have to travel to fucking Narnia, or even Brazil. Like, I'd love to see the Brazilian fans and just have a massive event in Brazil. South America's kind of been mistreated by PUBG in general, and just I feel like having a land there, doesn't matter what it would be. I think PNC would be the coolest because the Brazilian fans would go fucking wild. But I think my answer would be Brazil. Next question, we got Andre. As an old man myself playing the game, but I'm super noob, I'd like to know what you feel your weaknesses, but also your strengths compared to new gen players. You're still going hard, and being an IGL is quite an achievement. Congrats. Thank you, Andre. I touched on this kind of a little bit. Obviously, the biggest weakness for me is mechanics. So my mechanical ability, compared to most players or even New Gen players or whatever it might be, is lacking. Obviously, it's not something you can work on as easy as people think. So definitely for me, mechanics, biggest weakness, and strengths. I think I'm pretty good in most other areas. Maybe that's egotistical or conceited, but yeah, in terms of like comms, situational awareness, driving, whatever, like the all the other attributes in between, like all that shit. I think I'm really solid at. It's just my actual mechanical ability is not great. And then compared to new gen players, I think the biggest difference is just the knowledge you've gathered throughout all the years. And whether that be kind of the newer maps or the older maps, just the ability to find stuff out, how to practice things, how to find certain spots, what's playable. Can you climb this rock? Does the circle come off this rock? How good is this dip? Like a lot of those things as an IGL, it takes countless amount of hours to learn, and I think that's one of the biggest advantages I have. So hopefully that answers the question. Next question is, what player do you believe has the most potential but doesn't put the work in to shine? Um, so this is a rough question because he actually shines decently, and that is my boy Alo. Alo is one of the most mechanical gifted players there is. He's a super smart, intuitive player. His comms are great. He plays super solid, world class player. But he probably plays the least amount of PUBG out of any PUBG pro that I could think of. Back in the day when him and Penta were on SDK, TSM, whatever it was, they shared that. Penta has picked it up since then for sure. But Alo Alo does not play much PUBG. I think he's got under 5K hours still, and he's been playing since 2017. So, what is that? I mean, that he's averaging like maybe 500 hours a year since the game came out, and 1,000 of them are probably in the last like 4 years in terms of live server. Obviously, he gets his scrims in and stuff like that, but yeah, he definitely doesn't grind the game. Some people say if they grind the game, they get worse, which is maybe that's true for some people, but I feel like Alo will always have some sort of untapped potential there if he really wanted to be like the best mechanical player in the world. I think he has that capability behind him, and I truly believe he could be if he put in more work. But that's just me. All right, so for the last question of the day, we got Hugo. What's your honest opinion on Soniqs currently? They win EWC and then throw away every global. That is a crazy statement to say they threw away every global. They may have fallen and failed at the globals, but they didn't just throw them away. Like they didn't just troll, they didn't just int hot drop or whatever the fuck it might have been. They were giving their all. So to say they threw them away is a ridiculous statement. Um, let's start with EWC. Now, if people remember, EWC quals, Sonics weren't playing well either. They got to the best of 12 finals, and lightning struck, and they won, right? They played well. They popped off when they had to. They got pretty gifted in a couple games. It is what it is. They win, right? They're playing well. People think they're the best team in the world. Boom. All right, now we go to the next events, and it seems like I think they got fifth after that. Not awful. Not up to their standards, though. And then, again, don't qual for PGS6. Trending downhill. They regroup, do scrims. Everything's looking good. They're playing normal. Their comms seem to be good. All their mentals are good going to PGC. Get to PGC, and it seems like, from an outsider point of view, and from what we could see in the comms, they just collapse in terms of their structure and in terms of their leadership. And I don't know whether that being Gunner not like laying down the fucking hammer on the boys enough and like being like, yo, fucking mute the fuck up, give some suggestions when you need to, but listen to fucking H-Win. Or if that was said anyways, and H-Win just couldn't follow through in terms of being assertive enough, because with the comms that we all heard at PGC, it was awful. They were all over the fucking place. All four players were trying to make constant calls, and nobody was just fucking putting the pedal to the metal, being assertive. Yo, we're doing this. We got to do this. We got to go push this. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. It was everybody just saying we could do this. We could do this. We could do this. We could do this. This, which is absolutely insane. Nobody actually just took over, which is obviously H1's job. I'm sure he'll tell you the same thing. based on like the comms, like, you know, he needs to be more assertive, he needs to be more demanding, he needs to be straightforward with what's going on. I'm sure he'll tell you all that, but obviously it didn't happen. The crazy thing for me is, so I went to PNC with Shrimsy and Kick, and we did pretty well, whatever it was, you know. And in an interview later, somebody asked Shrimsy, "What's the biggest differences between H-Win and Purdy?" And his question was, H-Win is more direct on what he wants to do, and a bit more assertive in the game plan. Now, to go from that, which obviously, you know, if that's how he is, that's awesome. But to go from that to what we saw at PGC, something had to have happened. And I don't know if that's him losing confidence as a player and as an IGL, which is obviously rough, or his team losing confidence and respect in him as that as well. So, whatever it is, obviously the roster is capable. They can figure it out without a doubt. They just need to 100% hit the reset and build their structure back up as this is our fucking IGL. He's going to say what we need to do. We need to listen to him. And if there's something that he's 100% wrong on, whatever it is, we say, yo, that we need to do this right now. We're going to die if we do this. Blah, blah, blah. Move on. Be quick with it. Their current setup was just very fucking awful and inefficient. 4 chefs, nobody fucking making the food. Whatever it is, it was dog shit and abysmal to watch. But they didn't throw away the year. They did try. They just failed.